Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to a very special event, a very special playthrough. Darkside Phil here, and it is currently the summer of 2015. And typically during the summer, as you guys and gals know, there's a lot of downtime when it comes to new releases for games. And it's a perfect time for me to revisit things that I've done from the past. It's a perfect time for me to explore things that I have not done previously. And so what has happened is I gave my patrons, people who donate to my Patreon account, the opportunity in the month of July to nominate and vote on a game that they'd like to see played over the next couple of months. And we had lots of games in the running, ladies and gentlemen, lots of them. The game that ended up coming up big time as the winner, as you can see here, is Fallout New Vegas. In fact, this game has been won in the votes basically pretty much from the get-go. It was winning in votes from all the games that people nominated. And, I was looking forward to this because, as everyone knows, later this year in November of 2015, we're going to see the big release of Fallout 4. Now, Fallout New Vegas technically is not a numbered release in the Fallout series, okay? It was kind of a spin-off of Fallout 3 after Fallout 3's huge amount of success in 2008. And it really is the same kind of game, the same kind of gameplay. Some of the primary differences: obviously the location of where it takes place, and also the fact that there are some really branching decisions in the game. In Fallout 3, yeah, you had some decisions that you could make, but ultimately, it was the same plot line pretty much no matter how you played the game. In Fallout New Vegas, dependent on your choices during the course of the game, it could very differently change the course of the game and actually have you play different branching paths of story. My first run through of Fallout New Vegas in 2011 when the game was new was interesting, and I kind of remember it, but I'll be honest, I don't remember much of it. I remember like the main choices that I made in the plot, but I don't really remember much of the side content, and certainly some of the DLCs and things for the game I don't remember too well. And so when the patrons voted in Fallout New Vegas, I said I definitely want to do this a little bit differently. I certainly don't want to do like the same exact kind of playthrough that I did in 2011. Alright, so first of all, thank you to all of you who submitted fan art. As you can see, I'm doing a fan art montage, but what I'm going to do right now is jump over to the game to show you. Take a look here. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, Fallout New Vegas. When I played it originally, I only got 46 out of the 75 achievements. Now keep in mind, a lot of those achievements are probably DLC related. So in that regard, some of these, the DLCs for the game, I probably didn't do all the content. And in fact, I remember when I originally did some of the DLCs for this game, I played them as soon as they were released at 2 in the morning, 2 a.m., and I was drunk when I played them. And I certainly don't do that with my game content anymore. Now I do direct capture, live streaming, high quality audio. Everything's been improved, obviously, since the old days of how I used to do it with a camera, that I would kind of position crooked at my television. It's a lot differently now. Let's face it, if I didn't improve my content and the way that I film and the way that I do my game playthroughs, I certainly wouldn't have survived as long as I had, okay? And as long as I'm doing it, here are 2015, and I'm still doing this full time, which is awesome. But I've decided, since this is a second run-through of a game I've already done, I'm going to do a few changes to my playthrough, alright? Number one, I am going to try to side with one of the factions in the game. Now, if I didn't play the game or you haven't watched my original playthrough, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, okay? There are major factions that kind of pop up during the course of the game. And I remember doing my original playthrough, I remember I sided with the NCR for most of it, but then at the end I kind of did a swerve. This time I'm going to try to side with Caesar's Legion and maybe do things differently and see what their quest lines are, okay? That's one major change. Number two, I am, at least for the beginning of the playthrough, going to attempt to do a hardcore mode playthrough, which means a lot of differences. It means that ammo will have weight. It means that I'm going to need food and drink, or else if I don't do that, I won't be able to fast travel, and I'll begin to lose health and stuff like that. So certainly inventory management is going to be a major thing. Now, if this ends up hindering the playthrough greatly, if it ends up making it so that's not a lot of fun, I might change it back, and you can actually change the game midway or at any point from a hardcore mode playthrough to a standard playthrough. However, if I do complete the game hardcore mode from start to finish, it's 100 gamer points, which is huge. Huge. when you think about it. And it's one of the big achievements that I did not actually do. I did not get the 100 gamer point achievement for doing that because obviously I never played the game in hardcore mode, okay? So I'm certainly considering doing that because it's a huge achievement and it also will be challenging. Number 3, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the hardcore mode, okay? I think I'm going to go for a melee playthrough where melee combat will be my focus. I did not do that in my original playthrough. My original playthrough was mainly guns. And it's funny because I remember when I played Fallout 3, I focused on like plasma weapons. And then when I played Fallout New Vegas, I said, I'm going to focus on different weapons. And then halfway through the playthrough, I was using plasma weapons again. I think I am going to be focusing primarily on melee. I've never done this in a Fallout game before. I've never even attempted it. I don't know how different it will be, but here's the thing. If I'm going to be doing a hardcore mode playthrough, at least from the start, and if it's really the fact that ammo has weight that makes it a difficult game, if I'm going melee mode, it won't matter, right? You know what I mean? Like, it won't, because I'm not going to be using ammo too often. I'll probably have, like, a backup weapon if I need it. But if I'm focusing on melee combat, then it should actually not be that big of a deal. So maybe melee mode is the way to go. I don't know. Now, of course, with everything I'm telling you here in this intro to the playthrough, obviously people are going to say, well, wow, if Phil's going to be doing melee and hardcore and making different decisions, this could certainly not only be a more difficult and challenging playthrough for you, but it may take a long time. Well, here's the thing. I've got all of the month of August, and I'm probably going to be playing this throughout September. Now, undoubtedly in September, I'm going to have a lot of new games coming out because that's the hardcore gaming season, right? That's when all the new games start coming out come September. And this is going to go on the back burner. I will be playing it at least a few times a week, but it's not going to be something that's my main focus. So I'm hoping that over the course of the months of August and September, that I can get significantly far, if not kind of through the main plot line of the game. Okay, we'll see. Now, another thing I want to make fully clear up front, because there's all these misconceptions. As usual, people have misconceptions about stuff, and I want to make sure that everyone understands. Obviously, I'm playing this on the Xbox 360. Alright, you might wonder why. I wonder why Phil's playing this on the Xbox 360. Well, it's very simple. Because I own the game on the Xbox 360, and I own all the DLCs on the Xbox 360. I didn't have to rebuy stuff, versus if I had to go rebuy everything if I bought it on PC. That's number one. Number two, if I played it on PC, undoubtedly people would say, I want to see Phil play it with mods with the highest resolution, 1080p, and I want to see it in 60 frames per second. And guess what? My PC cannot handle playing a game at 1080p, 60 frames per second, while live streaming and recording. It can't do it. I've tried it with games recently, like The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, and it didn't work. It failed miserably. It chugged along, the frame rate dropped, and it just didn't look good. So I would much rather play this on a format that I know it's going to work, on a format that I already have the DLCs, so that I have a choice here. Do I want to do a DLC? Do I have a chance and timing to do the DLC? Or do I skip it? At least I have the option here, versus if I were playing this on PC, I wouldn't even have the DLCs. I'm certainly not going to rebuy them. So it makes more sense. Okay? So there you have it, ladies and gents. That's kind of the premise. Xbox 360, hardcore mode to start. We might change it to standard mode if it's too much to handle, or it's making the playthrough not fun enough. You know what I mean? We're going to do melee. We're going to try it. I'm not saying that, guaranteeing that it's going to happen the entire playthrough, but I think a melee take might be a better take. And I'm going to probably try to do choices differently than I did my first playthrough from what I can remember. Then again, I'll be honest, I really don't remember too much about the original playthrough besides the stuff that kind of happened in Vegas. So it could be quite interesting to see how this works out. Alright, so that's kind of the premise in the intro. I want to say thank you to the patrons who made this possible, who voted for this game. And if you continue to vote this in as something that you want to see, we'll continue to play it throughout September and, as far as we can. Obviously, I'm not going to be playing it in November when Fallout 4 comes out. I am hoping that I can go throughout August playing this, and hopefully some of September, and maybe finish up at least the main plot line before we get too caught up with all the game releases of the fall. Alright, so that's kind of it. That's the premise of everything. that's the intro. We're about to get started. I thank you very much for everyone for watching. And that is pretty much it. We're going to get started. That was the intro, and now we'll actually get started with gameplay. All right.